Right.
This is also, if you notice, like, I'm just sharing you little things coming from, came from the same background as you, so little things that show you that this is a glimpse into the Ruby world. Hello_world is there's Rubyism type things, is Ruby. Like, you don't use, like we would use Pascal casing or catch, that's, no. It's like, that's a very Ruby thing. There's certain cases where there's a lot of, not ceremony, but practices, but this is how you do things, and that's one way of doing it.
I see.
And I go back into my old ones, I see things where I did something like Pascal case, hello, capital W, and I go, silly me.
Right. Right. Okay, so cool. And then, so I went here and said, okay, that's cool, there's that controller there, well, let's give that a shot. So I said, Rails, generate controller, and I typed that, and it gave me some sort of example or whatever. Yeah, it gave me something like this, and then it gave me the credit card example here, right? And I said, okay.
I would kind of lean away from that. I think like, if we start walking through, I don't really use the scaffolding, and the only thing I do in the generate that I do is the migrations. And that's because the way that Rails stamps the migrations in the correct order is via date timestamp. And so, trying to manage that on your own would be kind of crazy. So, even when I generate a migration, sometimes you can pass in the properties that you want the migration to have. I don't do that. I just do Rails generate in the name of my migration. And I'll let it do that.
Okay, so we're gonna revisit there because I definitely didn't go that far and didn't know anything about that. So what I did was I said, okay, I got so used to using PowerShell that when I try to do like auto completion here in the command line, it doesn't work here in command prompt. So my next thing was to try to make that work in PowerShell, and the thing to make that work was just, well, first of all, I came here and said, okay, show me what the path is, so, and then I saw what it got added, essentially the command for this Rails installer and Ruby bin and Git and stuff like that. And then I said, okay, if I add that to my profile in PowerShell, right, like that, then it should work just fine. And then I just gave it a shot to see if that would work, and that worked fine. And I said, okay, screw you people, command prompts, go away from my life.
Yeah, but this part thing, like why on the Mac it's so much easier and better, is because the terminal program on Mac has the easy creating of tabs, navigating between tabs, autocomplete, and you have all the Unix goodness of creating your own functions and customizing your look and feel. And so that's why it's kind of frustrating when you go to PC. And there isn't anything that's saying that no, you can't do it. It's just the productivity that you lose. So like here I am autocomplete too. I'm like, man, I don't have like autocomplete. That would totally suck.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's good to hear about these things on the Mac. I have on my list of things to check out that one image of a Mac image for the VMware to make it run on Windows. So I want to give that a shot and see if that would be something that I can actually work on.
Yeah, and nothing's cool with the terminal and the bash RC setting up your own functions look is like, even today in our lunch and learn, I didn't get to finish it because I had to go to the meeting, but they're talking about, it was on Peep Code, the play-by-play, I forgot who it was, but they were going through Vim and stuff, and he had actually a pretty cool bash function that he stole from someone else. It's steal, but the thing is like borrowed it and tweaked it. So that the prompt, like if you look at your prompt, I have on mine, it tells me like if I'm in my Git folder, and the same, Git and Mercurial are so close that, that you'll understand what I'm saying. If I'm in a Git folder directory, it'll tell me what branch I'm on. So my thing will say blah, 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 like here I'm looking at Rails, blah, 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 app, in parentheses, master. So I know, hey, I'm on the master. And it'll give me a little mark to tell me, hey, it's dirty. But he had one that's actually cooler that I'm thinking about putting on. And what it did was it knows the time between your last check-in, and it would change color based on that. So, like, if you haven't checked in I don't know his time frame, but say like 20, 30 minutes, it goes from green to yellow to red to let you know, like, dude, you need to check in, that
that's pretty
you've gone too far. And I'm like, that is awesome. I love it.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, the only thing I have here close to that, but not even close, is the what's it called? Push something for, that's just a script, a PowerShell script, where if I'm within a Mercurial folder, I get this, right? So here it's telling me that I'm on the default, I'm at the tip, on the default branch at the tip of that, and if I make changes, say I come in here and I create a file or something like that.
Are the icons, are those tied to the Mercurial stuff?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So if I come here right now, whenever I refresh the prompt, it tells me, hey, there's a new file there that you are not tracking. So if I want to start track, or if I make changes, it shows me like what's new, what's being modified or deleted, and stuff like that. But yeah, the changing colors thing that you were mentioning, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so stuff like that becomes easy. I think PowerShell has similar things, but I haven't gotten into PowerShell.
Right. Okay, so that's cool. So let me close. Oh, there's all the. Oh, here's a stupid question. So I had the server running, so I think it's still running. So if I go to one of those, it's like this guy here. Oh no, okay. So when I closed the prompt, it went away. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
How are you doing, man?
Good. I have it up and running, the server, the Rails server. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll watch the video real quick.
Okay, yeah, it's good. It's a short one, so you can get started real quick. So you're also getting started on this, right, man?
Yeah, I've never typed one word of Ruby, so.
Okay, so yeah, you're on the same spot. I mean, so far I haven't written a single word in Ruby. I mean, I've invoked like 2 or 3 commands here on the command prompt, and that's it.
All right. So one thing is pretty cool. Since you're new to the web stuff too, that even we brought in one of my coworkers, and he started using this a lot, and I've grown to where now it's my tie-in to. Instead of doing local hosts, what you can do is use Smackhost, and that will go out and then come back to your local host, and it cleans up a lot of, like, when we had to do some of our projects, we had subdomains, and it was getting really crazy trying to edit your host INI file to get the right subdomain to go to the right place, etc. Meanwhile, using Smackhost, it just worked, and it was fantastic. So,
okay,
yeah, I'm going to type for you.
Okay,
Yeah, let me type what it is so you can see. It is, should be Smackhost.
So I can just type that in here or within
yeah.
or have a site?
Yeah, exactly. And it should go back to your Rails thing.
Right, but I do go down where I have my site, right?
No. Go to your browser. In your browser, instead where you put localhost 3000, you type in the Smackhost.
What?
Oh, dang it. Let me just copy that.
Doing an Internet Explorer, you're hurting me.
I don't know what the hell. Why did Internet Explorer come up? Because when I invoked from this fellow, why the hell? Yeah, no, that's... Oh, I know why. It changed my... In some situations, when I was doing some Silverlight development the other day, I had to change my default browser to Internet Explorer, otherwise the debugger in Visual Studio wouldn't work. That's why. Yeah, I have to flip that. Yeah, that's wrong. Okay. All right. So
yeah, it should be do HTTP.
Oh.
And even then that should work, but I guess I spent my time in Chrome, so.
Okay.
All right, let's double check that I actually gave you the right thing. 'Cause like I said, living my life away.
Does it have that dot in there, or was that?
Yeah, the dot.
.st. Is that right?
Yeah, that works.
Huh. Oh, it works for you, Mark?
Yeah, it brings up the same page.
Oh, is it because I'm not running the... No? What the heck?
If you just start, make sure I can. Your screen is bigger than mine, so I'm like rotating. Yes, now try it. Should work.
Yeah, I thought I'd try and see. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's what I'm generally going to instead of localhost. And again, it's just one of those where it's a little bit cleaner on some of the subdomain. At first I was like, yeah, I'm not going to really use it, but now I use it all the time. And so probably just getting a habit now.
All right, so, sorry, man, tell me again why we use that. What does it do?
Where we were using it, and I'm sure like my coworker Chris knew a whole list of reasons why, whatever. But for me, it's like I need to know the short end why it was helping us out. It was helping me out because on one of our projects we had subdomains per like a certain area, and to get it to work, like at first before I was using Smackhost, I had to like edit my host INI file, and then I could only use this one particular area, or I had to go through all this rigmarole to get it to work. But then once I started using Smackhost, I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to worry about the subdomain stuff. It worked because it's still treating it as outside URL. It was also helpful for, I want to say when I was integrating with Facebook, it worked as well. Like Facebook and some other APIs, it will notice that you're a local host, and it will be like, this is not a valid URL, this is not a valid request, so I'm not going to talk to you. But meanwhile, I think Smackhost, I think still it's okay. But don't hold me to that, but I want to say it.
Right. Yeah, I'll do some, look it up to see what else they say. Okay, cool. All right, and then what's next? I mean, yesterday, my next step was going to be going down this Rails guide.
Correct.
I noticed they have a getting started, and I said, well, I guess that would be the next step. But then I had to go pick up my wife and didn't do anything. So would that be a good?
Yes. In fact, we'll go down our own sort of path, but we'll be referring back to a lot of this stuff because even now I still refer back to these guides because they're very good. Because they do a pretty good job explaining even the list of things. Kind of like a WPF Unleashed book that you keep on going back to. The guide is a pretty good resource that you go back to look at it, and they have good little warning things too. Like, if you look at the blue and the red subgroups, it'll tell you things like, okay, good, I know exactly what I'm dealing with.
Sweet. Yeah, this looks really good. I mean, this looks really good. Okay, cool. So, all right, then. So, where do we go from here?
All right. Well, let's get the text editor problem solved. Figuring out what we want to use or how we want to do it. I think Mark mentioned even going down using JetBrains or RubyMine stuff. I don't really care one way or the other. So, if we want to start off with RubyMine, that's fine because I kind of want to explore it as well. I use TextMate, and so I prefer a lightweight one, but I haven't found that one yet. The closest I've gotten on Windows is the Komodo edit, and even then, I'm not too pleased with it.
Okay.
So download RubyMine?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's give that a shot for a while.
Let's see how that works. What's it? 76 megs. Okay. All right, nice. They have a build an app in 7 minutes.
Yeah, well, again, it's going to be using a bunch of scaffolding and stuff. And
Probably, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
Okay. So would you use like scaffolding for like prototyping and stuff like that, or not even for that?
It depends on your perspective on it. I think some people like it because they like getting something out of the box really fast. But I find doing it by hand is enjoyable, and generally I have an idea of what I'm doing when I'm doing that, and a lot of times I'm doing TDD with it, and so I don't really do, like, I write my cucumber tests first, and then I just run those tests and keep on writing and creating things minimalistically to make those tests pass. Like, say if I was doing creating, let's say, a blog post or whatever. That's always the typical example. I would start off with my cucumber feature and saying, I should be able to create a blog post, and then code until I get that to pass, and I check in, and then I do the next one. So with scaffolding, it'll generally follow some guidelines on how to, and it'll spec out, like, the core. And so if you need to get something, if you're really into the rapid application development, then yeah, you can get something out really fast, but I guess I'm not that productive.
Yeah, I've never cared much about that either. Right.
Especially when you're learning like this, I think it's good to do it, and I'm still learning as well. So to me, it's very ritualistic, me learning, this is what I'm doing, this is what happens, this is what I need to do next.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like where I told you that when I went to that site and I said, oh, it's gonna install this, that, or the other, and I said, okay, it's gonna install that. Hello, hello.
Hey, you're back.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. My internet like dropped for a couple of seconds there. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? Interesting. Cool. Well, good that I didn't have to log back in all over again. And now what happened to the download? Come on. Oh, there we go. Alright.
And so I think this first session, like how we're going through this, was just we're going to do some of the very basics, and later on we'll get more into like some of the other cooler gems and having things set up. But first we'll just go vanilla Rails. I think we'll quickly get off of vanilla Rails because there's vanilla Rails, but then there's like the typical, things you add in.
I see.
And part of that also, I think I showed this as a brown bag, but you see more. If you go, I think it's Rails Wizard. Search for that. Yeah, it's railswizard.org.
Oh, that right there.
And so what this allows us to do is you can scroll down here and you make selections in each of the categories, and then you then move on to the next step, and it'll give you just a script that you just run, and it'll install all your favorite gems and stuff. So first we'll kind of put it ourselves, but then after you do it yourself, and even if you do it yourself a couple times, you'll be like, I don't want to go through all this picking and choosing again. I know exactly what I want.
I see.
You pick and go on.
Oh, that's sweet, man. That's good. Alright. Okay, let's see. That guy done. What the hell was that? Where did it go? Oh, right there. Cool. Install that. So Mark, are you all up and running with the RubyMine?
Yeah, I installed it. I have it open. It's just I can create a new project or whatever I need to do.
Right.
What is this railswizard.org?
So what this is, when you, after a while, you start recognizing there's certain gems or frameworks that you like, and so this allows you to select them, install, and create a Rails app to go, like real fast. The equivalent would be, say you're making a WPF app, and you're like, I want to use structure map in unit for my tests. I'm going to use Fluent and Hibernate for my ORM. And you pick all these different things, and then you just hit go, and I'm going to use, let's say, Prism or Composite WPF as my framework. And you're like, click, 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 go, and then it'll give you a script that you run and it'll install everything. So all it is really just saving you a bunch of time. Because after a while, you're like, I'm getting tired of, I know exactly, like, I'm very opinionated now. When I create my Rails app, this is what I'm going to be using.
Right.
So because I'm like, dude, I'm going to be using Mongoid, and I'm using RSpec, and Cucumber, and Haml, and Sass. These are the things I'm going to be going. And jQuery.
Once you select those, it gives you a pre-built script or something that you drop
Correct.
into.
And so, like, if you look at the screen that Claudio has right now, you just you copy that and paste it and replace app name. You actually even type in your app name that you want, and it'll replace it up top. And you just click that script and just run it, and it'll do all of its magic.
That's freaking insane. That's pretty cool.
All right, so I'm at this initial configuration screen as well, and so for me, I'm picking TextMate because I know the keyboard shortcuts for TextMate, but I'm not sure how it translates over to Windows because it uses the command key on the Mac, and I don't know, we'll see. And the color scheme, I'm using Railscast just because that's what I use on my TextMate.
Okay.
Now, Railscast is something you'll probably get familiar with as well. If you go to Google and look up Railscast, that's going to have some
Railscast?
Yeah, Railscast.
Oh, I see. Oh, screencast.
Free screencasts that go through a whole bunch of awesomeness. So if you're worried about something or learning about something, click on it. It does a great job explaining anything. But then you're like, dude, I don't have time to watch a video. If you look up ASCII-cast, what it is it's the transcript from the video with appropriate screenshots. It is awesome.
Wait. Where did you see that?
So Google ASCII-cast.
Oh. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you click on that, it will be the Rails cast, but like click on one of them and you'll see it's the transcript of what he's saying with the screenshots. So,
man.
So if you don't have time to watch the video, or if you remember watching the video but you're like, I don't remember this one particular part, you just jump back into here and you get exactly what you need.
Man, this is sweet. Heck yeah. Nice. Okay, so this. Cool. All right.
Yeah, so I'm going to get the same stage y'all are at. Now, this create new project, I'm thinking it's probably going to do a lot of craziness that I'm not so sure about. Let me see what happens, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so... we'll just go with it. So create a new project, and we'll just see what it is. I mean, half of this stuff is just exploring, doing it on Windows anyway.
Yeah. So, okay, what name are you guys giving to the project?
Ruby Proj.
Let's see.
See, there you go. First Ruby, that is... Come on,
oh,
Ruby.
so it should be like this.
Yes.
Awesomeness. There we go. Okay, and then what do we get?
Yeah, pick a Rails app, and we'll see what that does.
Alright. Okay, alright, now all those questions. Okay, there's only one answer. I like those. Oh, I like those.
Okay.
No Rails template. Okay, I guess just go with the default. What about the database here?
It should be SQLite, but click on it and see which ones they have available to you. Yeah, I'd probably go with SQLite for now.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Oh, whoops, I probably need to install. My Rails version is not the right version.
Is that right?
Well,
You know,
when I installed it, was first doing Rails on this machine, I was using, Rails 3 wasn't out yet.
Oh, right. So when did it come out? Was it like a month ago or a year ago?
No, it was last year. So I started doing Rails 2 in last May, and 3 was still really early in beta, and we were using 3 on several of our projects before it got officially released. I don't know the exact date, but I would guess around September, October last year.
Okay, yeah, so it's pretty recent.
Yeah, and even though that's released or whatever, a lot of stuff, things were being built on it. And I think Rails 3, all my professional experiences with Rails 3, whenever I have to go back to that old project in Rails 2, I'm always fumbling around and going, God, this is not cool. It's like Rails 3, I think, is really awesome.
Right. Okay. All right, good now.
Interpreter. It says select Ruby interpreter path. Where is that at?
Do you have Ruby installed?
Yeah, I have it. I have Rails installer, C drive Rails installer, Ruby 1.87.
If it's pointing to the right one, then I would say, or default. If it's blank, then we're going to have to find where your Ruby is.
Right.
Yeah, it just says no SDK selected.
Huh. Well, why? Well, I didn't get that. That's weird.
Do I need to stop the console or something, or start it?
No, but you might go to your console and see if you have Ruby in the command line. I want to see if I have my Ruby in my command line right now.
Because I'm running that Rails server right now.
Oh yeah, I was not running it. I mean, that shouldn't matter, I wouldn't think, but what the hell do I know?
So if you type IRB at the command line, does it open up the Ruby interpreter?
Yeah?
How do I stop the server? It's just
Control C. Control C will stop the server, and it'll exit out most of the commands.
and type what?
IRB, and that'll just be an integrated Ruby interpreter, little system that then you can test Ruby code easily.
Yeah, it came up. IRB name.
You exit out, type exit to exit out the Ruby interpreter.
Okay.
So apparently RubyMine is not finding your awesomeness.
That's odd.
Since this is my first time to install it, I mean, the thing I would probably look for is do a search on my files to find where Ruby is installed.
I think I may be able to tell you that. What was it? Child item and bad format list? No? I don't know how to do that shit. But I could do it here. C Rails installer Ruby 187.
Yeah, I have that directory.
Okay. So when you did the new project in RubyMine, it didn't find that?
No, let me try it again. Let me cancel.
Yeah, because in mine it showed me that one as the only option because that's the only one I have installed.
Alright, so as we're doing this, what we can do is start going through some of the files too. Mark can search and find and see where we are, and we'll make sure we're not leaving behind. So we're not going to do anything, it's just kind of going through some of the file layouts. So right here, what you're seeing is this database YML, so that's going to be a YAML, and you'll see a lot of the config files are going to be in this YAML format.
Oh, the main file?
Correct. So what this guy is showing you here is these are your different databases that you're connecting to, your development, your test, and production. So you could change the name if you want to change the name, or there's other stats you see you can start changing the configuration. If you're using Postgres, that you would tell instead of SQLite you're using a Postgres, and you'd have other information you pass in like your username and password, et cetera, et cetera. Heroku, their databases are going to be running Postgres, but locally you'll be running SQLite. I generally like doing that combo because trying to get my local Postgres server up and set up, and I have nothing but problems with Postgres when I'm running locally. And that's mainly because I'm not an awesome, administrator of a system. So everything gets screwed up. SQLite works fantastic. I don't have any problems with it, so I use it locally.
Am I looking for the Rails? I don't know what the file extension is. It's just called Rails in the bin folder.
Let me see when I create new what mine's finding.
It's looking for an SDK file. I'm not sure which one is the SDK.
Yes, mine is looking at the SDK. So yeah, a Ruby SDK 1.8.6. So wow, that's an old version. So I'm using the old version of Ruby. Yeah, in fact, I can't even install Rails 3. It's like, dude, you need a new version of Ruby. So,
okay, I got it.
Excellent.
Do I need a Rails template?
No, it should be fine. I'm sure what that template means from their perspective is the same thing that the Rails wizard was doing, that if there's a certain template that you can make, it would put all the magic goo in there for you, but we're just running regular old stuff.
Right. Okay.
All right, so this is, again, my first time exploring, and since mine needs new Ruby and new Rails or whatever, I'm just going to follow Claudio, since there's no reason why I need to use RubyMine right now.
Right.
All right, so, can you expand that bottom window? Let's see what that bottom window is. Is it actual command line, or is it trying to tell you things you can run?
Oh, you mean this thing here?
Yeah. Like, scroll down to the bottom. Oh, it's just telling you what it's doing.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I cannot type in there.
All right. That is it. Then you're probably going to need to at least have a console open that you're going to be typing commands in.
Right.
Generally, for my development, I have my Mac set up where I can split my screen up, have docking, so I have like on my top 20% of my screen is my command, and my bottom 80% is my text made.
Right.
But I've also done like what you were doing, where one on one side, one on the other.
Yeah. Just close this guy. Because Firefox took a dump on me there. Why this guy doesn't like me? Put it to the bottom. Oh, that's shit. Can only put it sideways. Oh well. Let's go that way.
Did it create that database YML file for you?
Yes.
So all that showed up to start with, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Right. Okay.
That's plain old vanilla stuff. All right, so one of the first thing we're going to look at is the Gemfile. So if we go to config.
Oh, config, okay.
And I think it's there. But you remember here means, did you use the TextMate shortcuts?
No, I've never.
Okay. That's what I'm trying. So again, I'm trying to remember where it is because I do Command T on TextMate finds things for me. And here I am looking for the Gemfile on a Rails 2 project. So let me open up one of my Rails 3 ones so we can follow along.
Alright.
So mate.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the pre-configure for selected database? Which one?
SQLite.
Okay, that's why.
All right. So again, this is me figuring out where the hell. So Gemfile, where? Oh, it should be just off of the normal stuff. There it is. Just off the yeah. So if you go inside the Gemfile, this is what's telling you what gems your app is going to use, and this is what I refer to, as bundler. Bundler is packaged with Rails 3, and it'll manage all your gem dependencies. So it lets you know where to get certain things and how to build in which ones it needs. So like Rails requires several other gems, but you just tell, hey, I want to install Rails, and it'll install the correct ones.
Okay.
So for example, if we were doing, let's say we want to use Haml, we would do gem and space and put Haml in quotes.
Okay.
And we would run bundler on the command line, bundle install, and it will go, aha, there's some new dependencies that I need to install, and it'll install the correct ones.
Oh, actually, that's something that yesterday when I've installed that Ruby installer from that site, and I tried to do. At one point, the guy said to do the migration to create the SQLite database. When I tried that, it told me that it couldn't find the SQLite stuff, and then it told me, yeah, you have to run the bundle install.
Yeah.
And then that fixed it. I said, oh, that's pretty cool. Then it's telling
the Gemfiles, the Gemfile's telling you, hey, I need SQLite. So if we were using like Postgres, we would do gem pd, and that would install the Postgres gem so that we use it.
Right.
And again, like the equivalent would be saying, hey, I want to use structure map, gem structure map, and then it will install. And if, let's say, structure map had a dependency on automapper, it would install structure map and automapper.
Right. Excellent. Okay. That's the Gemfile.
All right, so if we go, let's pull up the command line. Let's make a fake model of some sort.
Okay.
What we want to put.
Where do I go for that?
First we need to go to your console or PowerShell or whatever.
Okay.
And let's get to this folder. So I guess we'll do users, Claudio, RubyMine projects, first Ruby.
Oh, I should have put it somewhere else. I didn't even notice that I was putting it in that folder. Okay, the users, Claudio, RubyMine, oops. RubyMine projects, first, okay.
All right, so from here, let's first make sure that we have everything installed. So just do bundle install, and we'll make sure that we're all good.
Install. Your bundle install is complete. Okay.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So let's say we were going to make a new model, and we'll just have a message model. So all it's going to have is, let's say a message, and you can put in like a first name and last name. So or a name. So you get a message and a name, so you know who it's coming from.
Right.
So what we'll do is instead we can first generate a model, And that would generate a migration for us and generate some other basic tests. And I do that from time to time. So let's just do that first. So we'll do Rails G and space and do model space and then the name of our model. So we'll just call this message.
Okay. Doing stuff. Okay.
So if we look at this, we see that the person created a migration, and notice the numbers in front, that's going to be the time date stamp for this migration. And then inside the app models folder is going to be your message model. And then since here the default template that's using is test unit, it creates the test unit config. Okay. Yeah, I don't really use that, so. but the people who build the Rails, whatever, 32, 37, I always get it wrong. But it was like, why did everyone uses RSpec? Like, why don't they unpackage it? And they're like, we use test unit, we don't see anything wrong with it. So it's definitely one of those that's like, so it isn't like, oh, test unit is not as good as RSpec. It's a matter of preference, and that, so by default, it's going to go with test unit. And
and we can change that?
Yes, and how to get the templates to change. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I would guess it's in the configuration, app config, but the application.rb. But we can get back later. That's one of the reasons why that wizard is awesome. Is because I don't remember all the little places and nooks and crannies I got to put this stuff, and it does it for me.
I see.
So first, we'll just stick with this, and we'll just create the model and create the controller, and we'll probably save. We'll see what the time is, but we might save testing. Well, fine. We'll just go from here. So the first thing we'll do is let's go back to our RubyMine. Start taking a look at stuff. Let's go to our migration.
Migration, and where was that again? DB.
Yeah, so we'll be under DB and be under migration.
Okay, this
You might want to look up, since we're going to be doing this a lot, look up their file find, whatever.
Search find. Well, that couldn't be, or could it? Finding path? No.
I mean, what's the resharper one? I forgot the resharper.
Well, for Visual Studio it's Control T, but here it's not doing anything. I had tried it already.
Was it Control N or Command N?
Control N, maybe, no. Crap. Wonder if they tell us something. They say, running, blah, blah. Usage, navigating through source code. Searching, okay, fine. Usages.
Yeah, I'm looking to see, there should be words like I want to find the file.
Right.
You know, because you're like big on shortcuts, you know, that
Absolutely.
guiding through all the folders is going to be a pain.
Yeah. Navigating.
How about navigating to class file symbol by name? That's what we want.
Control N.
Control N.
Thought I had tried that.
Or Control Shift N. So I guess go back. Do you remember what commands you were using? Whether you're using TextMate or?
Oh, here we go. Control Shift N. Well, in Visual Studio, I just configure it to the Visual Studio one.
Okay. Yeah. So let's look up the file. There we go. Create messages. Alright, so let's pull this, and I'm also going to be kind of looking at some of my own code on the side because, like I said, we've been doing Mongoid and using document databases, so we don't have migrations, so I'm kind of having to remember how to do some of this stuff.
JB, what was the command, or Claudia, what was the command to do the migration? That's where I
Rails
your console.
G. Yeah, Rails G model, and then you typed in the name of the model. So it's we can generate a migration by itself, or in this case, we're generating a model. So we get the migration for free.
Yeah, it's this thing down here. I don't know if you're seeing on my screen there.
No, it's kind of off.
Oh, because I'm...
Yeah, drag it over.
Yeah. I should probably resize some stuff here. Make it smaller so that it works for both of you guys. Okay. Okay. So if I have it like this, is it still too big? I mean, can you see like the bottom of RubyMine here?
Yeah, I can. No, I can't.
No? Dang, what resolution are you guys running?
I can see it, but
Yeah.
how big's your monitor, man?
It's like 14.5 inches.
Yeah.
They'll see a model message. Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. Put it over here. Okay. Okay. Sweet.
All right, so if we go back to our RubyMine stuff, we can take a look. So what this is going to be our migration. As you can see, since you're new to Ruby as well, I'm going to kind of read some of the stuff inside there so you begin to see some of it. Like when I was doing Rails, it isn't necessary that you know Ruby. So you can just follow the mechanics of it, which is kind of liberating. But to me, when I'm seeing this now, I want to kind of go through what I'm seeing here. So you see the class create messages. So remember how I was saying you don't do Pascal cases and stuff like that. But here for class names you do. So that's like a class. You know it's a class based on the way you type the name.
Okay.
It's saying it's inheriting from a migration class that's in the active record namespace or module.
Okay.
And so the first thing is, so we have def self.up. That's like a static method. So this is like a method on the class create messages up and down. So up is going to be called when we call rake migrate. It's going to build up the migration, and down is what's called when we're migrating things back down.
Okay.
So what this is doing, if we look at the down, we see, hey, it's calling the drop table method, passing in the symbol messages. And so it's just dropping the messages table.
Right.
Now this top part is saying create table messages do, and between the do and end, that's a block. So it's kind of similar to a lambda, but Ruby blocks are everything. It's like blocks are a big deal.
Okay.
And so right now, all we're getting from here is we're creating a table and it has some timestamps. So this will give us the created and the updated info, blah, blah, blah. So
Right.
we want to have a message property and we'll say a name property. So what we do is do t.string.
Oh. Wow.
So this guy's giving me a bunch of intelligence, but whatever. We'll do string. See, I'm not so sure intelligence really makes a lot of sense just because every object has so many methods on it that it'd be mind-blowing. So if I do string, then do space,
Okay.
and I want to do the symbol, so do a colon, and we'll do, not comma, a colon, so like the messages up top, and then do, we'll call this, message. So we'll have a message class with a message property, but whatever.
Right. Maybe let's call it content.
That works.
Cool.
And then we'll do another one, another property called t.string, and we'll call this name.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. Now when we go to our command line now,
Okay.
we can do rake space dt : migrate.
You know what? I don't think I saved this. I don't know if it matters. Let's try that. Okay, sorry, man. What was it? Rake?
So do rake db : migrate.
Great.
And so it should tell us, hey, I'm going to be creating the message table now.
Okay. Just doing stuff.
And there you go. He created the messages table.
Right.
Now, if we do rake space dash capital T.
Yeah.
So what this is going to give us is a list of all the rake tasks we can call. So here it's going to show you all the things and give you little messages about what each one does. Again, you use this the same way I was talking about how you do Rails, see all the generators. The same thing goes for some of the gems. Because some of the gems have Rails things you need to call, and some things have rake tasks you need to call.
Right.
So this gives you a whole bunch of stuff. One of the little secrets inside here that you'll use a lot is rake routes, because this will generate a list of all the routes that you have.
I see. Okay.
And if you notice here, some other ones you'll use like DB seed. So this will allow you to create a bunch of seed data that you can call and pre-populate your database with stuff. So this is helpful if you need to have databases, data or something you want to test against or everyone want to test against. You can have these seed files.
Nice.
So let's go. So now we've created this message table. We have a message model. If we go to back to our RubyMine,
Okay.
and we look at our app, I mean, not underscore app, but under the app folder, there should be a models folder, and underneath the models folder, we should have message. So if we look at message, we can see, look, it inherits from active record base, and it doesn't have anything. But you're like, dude, where's my properties? It's all hidden behind the scenes. But if you start creating all these migrations, and you're like, dude, I don't remember what properties my message has, we can look at, if you look under your DD folder, you have a schema file.
Right.
Go into the schema file. And see here, it tells us what's under those. So don't edit this file. This is auto-generated. But this is a way you're like, what was all those properties and what types are they at the end of all your migrations? So this is a file you'd go to see.
Interesting. So, you create a class and you declare the stuff that you want on it, but you don't really see that within the class.
You don't see the properties within within active records. But like when we're using Android, you define the fields on the models, which to me I like. I guess I'm so used to document database way now, but that not being able to see those properties kind of bothers me. But we're having a big discussion of whether document databases are better than relational database, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's very open-minded, they've used both, and everyone comes to the conclusion that it depends on the problem, which one we're going to use. Because there really isn't one, you trade one set of problems for another set of problems.
I see.
But the biggest one would be relational databases work really well if your model is very relational. If your model is very relational in your document database, sometimes it can suck. so you give and take for some of the stuff.
Okay.
So now we have this model. We have these properties set on it. We want to do some basic CRUD on these messages. So we're not going to do the testing stuff first. We're just going to do it, and then we'll decide if we want to do some of the testing. So first thing to do is we need to create a controller. So let's go to our controllers.
Controllers, right?
And so we'll create a new controller. And we're going to call this new controller, and this is, again, some things that I learned that we're going to call it messages underscore controller.
Okay.
And so what you normally do is you get the plural of the model that you're talking, or the resource. Because my first app, I didn't do that, and that was one of the first things Ben pointed out to me. Like, why is your thing called the and not plural? I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Okay. So do we do that from here?
Yeah, just do a new file.
Okay.
I see. Again, I'm so used to doing everything by hand with it. So it'll be messages underscore controller dot RB.
Okay. There we go.
And so we'll create a class. So make this a class space. And we'll do messages controller with capital M and capital C. So because it's a class. So that's how we know it's a class.
Right.
And then we're going to do the less than sign because we're going to be inheriting, and we're going to be inheriting from the application controller.
No, in format like this?
Correct. Okay. And it's important to do this format, and we need end file. That's why it's giving you a little red squiggly. So, or not just end. So just press return and end. So we're closing the class out. Right. So it's important to remember this type of format because a lot of times, and particularly like this, Rails is going to be looking for certain things. Like if messages controller was messages and a capital C controller, Rails probably will have a hard time finding it. Because it'll say an error message like, I expected this file to hold this class. So like if you change the name of messages controller to say something like food controller, it won't know how to find messages controller. It's going to go, I expected to find a messages controller file, and I didn't have it. What the hell?
Okay.
So the first thing we do is there's a sort of embracing the routing resourcing love with Rails of how you should do CRUD stuff, and even beyond CRUD, like interacting with the system. If you go, Rails is beautiful that you can do a lot of things your way, but it's kind of like, yeah, you can do it, but there's sort of pain associated with it. In my first app, I had that pain, and when I go back to it, it kind of sucks because I'm like, man, I didn't follow this pattern, and so it really is aggravating because I'm expecting certain paths and certain things that just aren't there. So part of that is you have these basic actions on these resource controllers. You have index, which is going to show the list of them, show, which shows a singular one. You have new, which is the action you call when you're first going to create it, and then you have create, which is the post action that actually creates the object. You have edit, which is going to be, you'll pass in the ID, and then you'll want to return the model that you want to edit. And then you have update, which is the post that will actually save the update. And then you have destroy, which is the delete. So these are the actions that you'll see a lot. And in terms of how the application works, sometimes you create different controllers for, even if the model isn't really there, it's still the idea. And so you package the idea with that frame set, that RESTful resource frame set.
Okay.
So if we go to, and part of that, let's go to our, should be under, config. So go under our config folder. We'll see inside that we have a routes RB. So let's look at the routes RB.
Okay.
And so if we just go, so you notice here it's showing a little bit of the resources and how the routing all works. So right under the do, we're going to make our own, we're going to make messages as a resource.
Where are you seeing do? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so right at the top, let's do resources, space, and the symbol messages. Now it's important to say resources and not, and so it's a symbol, so we need a colon right in front of it.
Ah, okay, got it.
So resource is different than resources. There's scenarios where you would use a resource and not resources. So like a resource for, let's say you were logged in, you would have a profile. There's no need to have multiple profiles and IDs. When you're on, there's only a singular profile for you, or something like that. So that would be a resource, but most of the time you'll be using resources.
I see.
And so a lot of these things I'm just putting out there because, again, it's one of those, like, it's going to come multiple times, and you'll hear it, and you're like, oh, that makes sense, oh, that makes sense, or you'll come back and revisit it and go, oh, I remember sort of discussing this.
Right.
So if we go to our command line now, let's do rake space routes. And so what this is going to show all the routes we have in our system. And now we should have routes associated with our new messages resource.
Right.
So see here, I'm going to read this kind of for you. So we see that the first part is like the shortcut symbol, or not symbol, but message you can use for that route. The middle part is again showing the HTTP verb associated with it. The third part is going to be the route. So here, if we were looking at, it's going to be /messages, and the colon ID is saying the ID goes in this area, and the parentheses dot symbol format is optional formats. So optional formats would be, you have HTML, you can also do XML or JSON or other stuff like that.
I see.
And so then the other side shows you what action and controllers map to that. So again, we see the index, the create, the new, the edit, the show, update, destroy. So when we say resources, messages, that's packaged all in. So we know that, haha, we can do all these things.
Okay.
So now let's go back to our messages controller, and let's do just the index first. So let's do def index with an end.
Oh, there.
Yeah, and we'll probably indent it some. This is why I like white space sensitive stuff, because we do it anyway.
Right.
So what we want to do is we want to show a list of all the messages we have. So what we'll do is do the @ messages equal, and do capital M message dot all.
How do you get the IntelliSense to show up?
But I just waited a little bit.
Oh, really?
Type dot, yeah, it takes like 1 or 2
Okay.
seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. So that will give us a list of all our messages, and it'll put that into our messages variable.
Right.
Now, to see this in action, or see the view, we need to create a view. So if we go under our views folder,
Views. Okay.
we need to create a new folder and call it messages.
Okay. Oh, in all lowercase. Yeah, there we go.
Again, it's one of those, like, if you didn't have this folder, it wouldn't know where to find the view. So it'd be like, dude, I was totally expecting to find it in these certain areas. Now, there's an algorithm on where it searches for these things, but it's one, again, that's like, don't mess with the voodoo. It's like,
Right, yeah.
it's very simple, very easy, and it helps because if you build a Rails project, and I build a Rails project, and I go to another Rails project, we know where we're going.
Right. Makes
So
sense.
we're then going to create a new file, and it's going to be index.html.erb. And so this is
Like
an ERB, and that's the
ERD?
correct.
Okay.
That's the default view engine. For me, when I'm using HAML, I do index.html.haml.
Ah, okay. Got it.
All right, so under here, let's just do an H1 tag and just say messages.
Yes, all right.
And then we want to loop through all the messages and display it. So let's just make this an unordered list. So just a UL.
UL. And then
We'll do
I guess
the
we need
little do less than sign, then do percent,
and
then
okay.
you do a dash. Well, you might not need a dash. I don't do ERB. So, and we actually have one of the guys I worked with and help out with this project. He loves ERB, and it drives me nuts because every time I go in, I'm like, I can't see anything. So let me open up that project to make sure that I'm not crazy.
Right.
All right, so I'm looking at stuff. And that doesn't have an index, so that's not helpful. We'll just roll with this. The reason why it's important is that if I do the equal sign, it's telling me that this Ruby statement has an output. And since this is going to be a for loop, we're not going to really look through.
Right.
Actually, let me do it for loop. So just do an @ sign and do messages.
Oh, so I just do this.
We still need the percentage, the bracket of percentage. So this is saying, hey, inside here some Ruby I'm going to be running. And we're saying messages.each
Okay.
and space do. And then do the little pipes or the bars and put in M or message.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to need to close off this block. So let's do the same little brackets % sign to put an end inside there.
Okay. It's very ASP-ish.
Yeah, I don't like ERB.
Right.
So as you see, any variable that we put the @ sign in front of inside of our controller action, we're going to have access inside our view. And so when you do that, you're saying, hey, this is the scope of the variable is greater.
Right. So I'm guessing we're going to do something like this here?
Yes, and say m.content. And so we'll just show the list of the content.
Right. Okay. And now I want to, let's see if I want to do the name as well. What's the,
Yeah, you can do the name as well or whatever you want to do.
right. Let's see, like that. Even getting IntelliSense there, man.
But you don't need IntelliSense. You know everything.
Yeah, right.
It's the dynamic.
All right, cool.
All right, so if we have this, do we have the server running already? I forgot.
No. Let me.
You probably want to do, like when I'm doing development like this, have some console open with the server running all the time. Because you're not really going to start it and close it, start and close it. There's few actions that you do need to stop the server and start it over, but most of the time you don't. I mean, those you know when you're doing it, like when you're editing some application configuration and some other environment variables. Sometimes you're like, okay, dude, I need to close it and restart it.
What am I doing wrong?
Server, so Rails S.
Yeah.
Oh, right. There we go. Okay.
And so here's, so, I want to show the different parts. So you're like, here you go. So the first part is telling you it's booting up. Until you get those last 3 lines, your server really isn't up. It's just starting up. So sometimes, if you're like, what's going on, wait for that last bit.
I see.
It generally doesn't take that long, but. So now let's go to our Smackhost. We can do / messages. The smack, not slap, and then you're going to need the 3000 port.
Oh.
And the no L, the M for smack.
Oh. Smack, not slack. Alright. See?
So there we go. We have now our messages.
Sweet.
Now, obviously, we have no messages, so we need some way of adding them. So let's go back to our Ruby mine. Let's go and create a link to add a message.
Right.
So what we'll do is let's just put a link right underneath H1. So go up to H1.
Right.
And what we'll do is do a bracket and then do %, equals,
Equals, right?
space, and then we'll do a link _2.
Link _2, like that?
Yeah.
Or 2, like
2,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so here we can do a whole bunch of different shortcuts on how we can do this. Right now, we want to create a new message. So we want new _message _path. And actually, we want to put, right before new message path, we want to give it some sort of text. So do a string of, say, new and comma.
Those strings here are double quote or single quote?
They're both. Single quote is just a regular string. Double quote is strings that allow you to also, remember how I was using the number sign and the brackets to run Ruby code? That's what the double quotes mean. It means that, look, there might be Ruby stuff I want you to interpret this stuff here.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember reading about that. Okay.
So it doesn't really matter in this scenario.
Message.
And then we're going to need a comma after the string. So at first you're looking at this and you're like, okay, that's awesome. But so what we can see, what this is really doing is calling this link to helper, this URL helper behind the scenes, and it's calling the link to method, passing in a string parameter and then passing in another parameter, which is the URL. But the URL is a new message path, which is the it compile. So you see, there's a lot of Ruby that even in, like, I don't know all the voodoo of how it does all this magic goo, but this is the stuff it calls, you understand. So we have this method link now, and it's going to call new message path, and it's going to go to the new message. So if we go there, refresh, we should see it, and when you click it, it should blow up and tell you, dude, I don't have anything for that.
Right.
So it goes unknown action new on found on messages control. So it knew the URL because we set up the routes, but it didn't know what action to invoke on it. So let's go back to our Ruby mine.
Right. So we want to go to the controller and add. Okay.
And we'll do a def new.
Okay.
And so here we'll do an @ the message equals to message.new.
New. Like that?
Yep. Now we need to create the view for it. So if we go under our messages folder, under our views, we'll create a new.html.erb.
ERB. Excellent.
And so here, what we'll want to do is we'll create the form. So let's do again, the less than sign with the percent, saying we're going to create a form. And we'll say form _ 4.
Form.
And we'll do @message space do, and we'll put in types F. No, so we're going to do F here because it is not the message we're doing; it's the form we're passing into this block.
Ah, okay.
And so again, close the percent sign deal. And again, we're going to need an end block, so we might as well put an end block.
Oh, right.
Wait till we get the Haml, you'll be like, this is so much better.
I see.
All right, so what we'll do here is we'll first do a label, and then we'll do the text field. So we're going to do that, so we'll go back, do the percent sign. It's like we're going to do some more Ruby code.
Oh, before label?
No, yeah. So right there, do less than percent equals. If you want this to spit something back out. Space, and we'll do f.label.
Okay.
Space, and then the symbol, we'll do name, since that's one field we're filling out. Yep. And then we'll do the next line.
So hold on, name, where's name coming from?
Name is going to be a symbol, but the symbol is going to look for the name method on message. Okay. And it's going to associate the two. So if we put in something like foobar, and foobar isn't on message, it's going to yell at us. It's going to be like, there's no foobar on message. I don't know how the two are related.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to do the same thing in the next line, but instead of label, we're going to use text field. So text _ field.
Field. Okay.
So let's copy and paste both those lines, and instead of name, we'll use content. And instead of a text field, let's make the content a text area, so we'll have more space to type. Right. And then the next line, we'll do the same thing, but instead of label or text field, we'll do f.submit. And then the parameter we pass into there is the name of the button, or the text file button. So add is good.
Okay.
And so we don't need that label down there.
Right.
And this is, the format's going to be weird because we're not putting any layout associated with it, but we can at least see what it looks like right now. So we can go back to our browser, hit refresh. There we go. It's crap, but
yeah, that's good so far. Sweet.
So now what we want to do is, okay, type in stuff and hit add. What it's going to tell you is that, hey, there's no create action on this guy.
Right. Yep.
And so how does it know that? It's the magic. It knows because the form goes, hey, this is a message object. I see that it's new. I know that the new ones should be posted to the create action of the same name.
Right.
So,
okay. So there we go.
Exactly. We go to our create.
Yeah. Create.
And we're going to do an @message equals to message.new. And then in parentheses, we're going to put params, and then put a bracket, like it's because it's a hash, and do the symbol message. So what this is doing, and this is part of Rails goodness, we're not done with this action, but I just want to describe the first part, is our parameters are going to come back, and it's going to have all the goodness of the URL parameters that's passed in there. Underneath there will be a hash under the message. And what this is doing, part of Rails active record awesomeness, is it's going to look at the hash and map the parameters directly. So if we look at those parameters, we would see a message hash, and underneath that message hash we would have a name and we'd have content. And so it's going to map those directly.
Right.
That is not Ruby, that is Rails. Because I tried doing it with Ruby, and it yelled at me, and I'm like, what the hell? And I was talking to my coworker, Jess, and he's like, dude, that's the Rails thing, not Ruby. I'm like, oh, that's why my thing fails. So, the next line, we'll do if message, the @ message dot save. We're going, if it saves, we want to redirect to someplace. So what we'll do is we'll say redirect to, and we'll just say messages underscore path.
Okay.
And so that's going to redirect to our index action on our messages controller.
I see.
Now we want to put an else here.
Okay.
And else we want to say render, and then the symbol new. So what this is saying is, if it saves successfully, redirect to the messages path. That's awesome. Things are cool. If it failed, don't look for the create view. Just render the new view with this information. So we don't have to create a new and a create view in case things fail. It will just always go back to the new, and then the new will be responsible for showing the error message stuff, which we'll get to.
Okay.
But that's the basic format, and you'll be doing a lot of this stuff. You'll see you'll do it over and over again, but you understand what each of the steps are kind of doing.
Got it.
So the difference between redirect and render is redirect will actually go through the full action cycle and blah, blah, blah. Render is just going to display that view given this action's context. So let's say new set some property called foobar to 5. If you, after create it failed and it tried rendering the new, when it tried to look for the foobar variable, it wouldn't find it, and so it'd blow up.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. All right.
So let's go and run it and see what happens.
Okay. Do this, resend. There we go.
There we go.
That's awesomeness. Pretty cool.
All right, so let's do some more cool stuff with this. Let's go back to our RubyMine.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll create a show, and then let's say an edit. So let's say if you want to edit, you have to go to the show to edit it. So create a show. What we'll do is do @message equals message.find, capital M, message.
Oh.
So this is when we're querying the message, all the messages, and we'll pass it to this find params bracket ID and call a symbol ID.
Oh. Right.
So this is saying, hey, find this message by this ID.
Okay.
And now we need to create our show view. So do our show.html.erb.
Right. There we go.
So here we have a message. So let's just display what we want to show here, whether you want to do it paragraph tags or headers or whatever we want.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. The also message, and then whatever in there. I guess. That. Right, and then here, so we say what? Message?
Yeah, @message dot.
Message. Right. Dot content. And same thing for. Okay.
All right. So let's now let's make a link to this to show how we get there. So if we go to our index,
Right.
what we can do is let's make the like clicking on the link like there. So the % equal, we'll say link to.
And, oh, but that would be another one, right? Like here.
I mean, we could make it where you click on the content to get the message. We could do, let's just do a show, that's fine. So the @ equals link to.
Right. Equals link to. Okay.
And so put show in a string.
Right. And then
And so this is pretty cool. So first we'll do message underscore path.
Okay.
And then put parentheses, and we'll pass in m, so it knows which message to show.
I see.
So a lot of things, since parentheses are optional with method calls, a lot of things you consider like new message path is a method. You know, even like properties, you should consider them as methods.
Right. Okay.
So now if we refresh or go to our index, we should see this new link.
Right.
And now we click show.
Should blow up.
Or it should tell us. Okay, this one. So if you go back, what thing's also cool?
Oh, okay.
And now let's go back to RubyMine. Instead of message underscore path, get rid of the message underscore path in the parentheses and just pass in m.
M. Okay. Get that. Save it. And show.
And actually, if you go back, you have to refresh it, but it's still going to work.
All right. Refresh that.
So it still works because it knows, oh, hey, this is a message model. Hey, I know routes go to these message models. I know exactly how these things are supposed to work.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Very nice.
So now we have our show. Let's in our show view, let's go to the edit so that we can edit this message.
Right.
So we can go to our show HTML and add an edit link.
Right. And just do another one here and say that, and then same deal here. Edit. Like that?
Yeah, and comma, and then we do edit underscore message underscore path. And we pass into that parameter of message, at message.
Right. Okay.
And naturally, when we click there, it's going to say, hey, there's no edit action on our messages controller.
Right. Excellent.
So there we go. So we go there, and we'll do, you know how new, we have message.new? This is going to be more like show, because we're going to be passing in, not destroy, we won't edit.
Oh, edit.
Destroy not.
Yeah, I am just a destroyer.
So now it's going to pass back as the message property on that.
Okay, hold on. Oh, here, you say?
No, see, that's right. Everything's right.
Oh, everything. Oh, it's going to be exactly the same thing.
Exactly like that.
Okay.
Now let's create our view, and we'll create an edit.html.erb.
Right. Oh, it's not there. Oh. Oh, and by the way, hold on. Okay, so what happens if I do this? I guess I can just give the name edit. No, it doesn't give the HTML there. Okay, how the hell do I rename this thing? It doesn't have a rename option? That's stupid. Okay, let's go old school then.
That's what I do, old school.
It's just too much typing, man.
Yeah, but you get used to certain things, like, yeah, you get a lot faster with some stuff, but it depends on your style. But to me, I'm still at the point where it's nice to go through this sort of ritual. Because you'll start seeing it actually when I start doing it, it's a lot faster.
Right.
So now we do the same, like if we go to new, let's go over to the new. Just copy all of it.
Okay. Similar.
Yep. And instead of add, which say save.
Right.
I'm going to show you something pretty cool. Do comma.
Okay.
And do the symbol disable with. Do space. And then do the, which is known as a hash rocket, which will be equal sign and the greater than sign. And then space, and then put a string, say saving ...
Okay, just a second. What did you say this is called again?
hash rocket.
Hash rocket. Okay. Well, it's better than like in C# lambdas where they call it the crotch operator.
Yeah. So I'm looking at like even if you Google, one of the big Rails shops actually called hash rocket. There's
What did they call it in C#?
Crotch operator.
but because also it's for the blank lambda, so you have to put the little parentheses in front of it. And then that is hash rocket. The other one is the not so PC term.
Cool.
And so what this is doing, and this is packaged into Rails 3, is this going to do some awesome mumbo jumbo to have it where you click on save, it'll change the text to saving and the little busy signal. So it gives you awesome user experience for free.
That's just freaking awesome, dude. I need to see that.
So you notice how you didn't have to change it and knew exactly which properties to match to those fields.
Right. That's freaking sweet.
So you hit save. Let's see how it changes saving real quick. But since our actions are so fast, you don't get to see them.
Yeah, I did. Well, you didn't get to see because of the refresh rate on live meeting, but I did get to see that here for like a fraction of a second.
Yeah. It's a nice little touch. Takes 2 seconds, but to me, it makes the app feel more interactive. But to see now, obviously, we don't have our update action.
Update, that's right. Let me also close this out there. There we go. Okay, so we go controller, there, and do the update.
Yeah.
All right.
So what we'll do is do the same at message equals message.find, because we need to find what message are we updating.
Rams, like that.
Correct. And then what we'll do is do if at message dot update attributes. So update underscore attributes. And we'll pass in params symbol message. So the bracket symbol message. So this is going to do the same thing that the new was doing, but now we're updating the actual object.
Right.
And so if it's successful, we'll redirect to, we'll just redirect to our message. So just say redirect to and then at message. So this is going to redirect a little bit different than the new create. I just want to kind of show you the different options.
Alright, I think I just found a bug here. Oh, yeah, the tooltip wasn't going away. Okay.
And then the else,
Okay.
we'll do the render edit.
Render edit.
Oh, with the symbol edit.
Symbol edit. Right. Okay. Coolio. Yeah, you can come back here. Oh, there, if I come back. Oh, no, that's that. If I come back.
Yeah, that shouldn't be doing that.
Right. Oh, now the damn thing is disabled.
Yeah, go back then, because that really shouldn't happen now.
Yeah, let's try that. Ooh, save. Ta-da!
There we go. So now we're on our show, because we said redirect to that message, and that message knows, oh, hey, you're going to this model, the default action is going to be showed.
Right. Sweet.
And so now if we go back, let's see. All right, so one thing we probably want to do next is we want to show error messages. So let's make some validations first so that we can then have error messages.
Okay.
So if we go to our model, so we go to our message model.
Message model. Okay.
We want to do, let's say you have to provide a content. Otherwise, it's not going to say. So what we'll do is call validates underscore presence underscore of.
Okay.
Space, and then the symbol content.
Okay.
And there we go. That's how you require a field.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go. And so now when we edit it, if you delete all of it, when we hit save, we should come back to this page. They came back to the page, but the reason why did the format change is because underneath the covers it's doing some error data stuff. Like if you look at the source, you'll see it's attaching these error messages to these error divs for our HTML. So then we can style it. See how notice it's filled with errors?
Gotcha.
And so generally we would have some default CSS that will give us some error messages. Let's see, actually, we didn't do any scaffolding, so we don't have it. Let me see if we can pull someplace. Let's Google and see if we can find a good default.
Okay. What are we looking for?
I'm just looking for some error CSS.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see if I can maybe send you something that we're using. Let's see. Also, if we want to look, let's go to actually, let me give you the CSS, and then we'll go do some other stuff too.
Okay.
Let me do my little searching for it. I was about to copy from my laptop and paste on my PC. That doesn't work, does it? When I was changing mice, I was like, oh, that's not going to work.
Well, it's like when I'm using my laptop and my iPad on the side. So I'm here, touch my iPad, and then I go to my laptop and I start trying to touch my laptop, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Oh, man,
Alright, so give me 2 seconds to pull up some CSS for stuff. I don't get on this PC hardly at all now. It's like I have to sign into everything, and all this stuff's not set up right. It's like my StarCraft machine now. All I do is play StarCraft.
Alright. Mark's still alive?
Yep, I'm still here.
Cool.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds to pull up my stuff. It's nice having us using GitHub for my work repositories too. So I have like one location at least I can find all my source.
Right.
So I'm going to give you some, this is going to be some of my styles, but they're actually, see, I was going to give you the Sass, but I realized the Sass generates regular CSS, so I'm going to see if I can find, just copy and paste the regular CSS to you.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, it did not like the multi-line. So that doesn't work. All right, do you want to pause the screen? I'll just send it to you via email. That way, you
Sure.
and no one can see your personal email.
All right.
All right, so this is sending you from my CodeMap stuff, and I think it's pretty good, but I don't recall off the top of my head. It should be enough to style at least something.
Okay. All right. So let me paste it here. By the way, Mark, if you want, just send me your email through the chat thing, and I can forward this to you too.
Okay.
Studio. There we go. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Forward.
Alright, so you want to put that, I think by default you get a style sheet that you're referencing, but let's kind of look at, there'll be a good chance to show where to define this type of information anyway. So if you go to RubyMine, you'll look under your public folder.
Public. There we go. Okay.
And underneath there is going to be your style sheets, and JavaScript and stuff. So the style sheets.
Right.
So here you have, looks like you have none. So let's just add one.
And what do I name this guy?
Whatever you want. Generally, you can say first ruby.css would be a good start.
Right.
And just paste the stuff that you have.
There we go.
All right, now we want to reference this style sheet in our app. And so what we want to do is, if we go back up to our app folder,
Right.
and we go under our views, under layouts, our application. And so this is the guy, the outer shell. You know, if we're talking composite WPF, this is shell.
Oh, I see. Right.
And so what this is saying is yield the contents of the actions and stuff here. You can also have different sections, so you can have a yield and pass in the symbol. So you have different regions, if you will. Again, I'm using some composite WPF thing. So this is like your default region, but there's other regions you could specify the exact name.
I see.
And so here, if you look at the top, it's saying style sheet link tag all. So it's going to find all your style sheets in that folder and link them. So we don't have to do any more work. It's just going to find it and put it in there.
Very nice.
So now with those put in there, we should go back to our edit screen on our browser.
Right.
And we'll hit refresh. And then if we did awesomeness, it should give us colors and stuff.
Right. There. Go, edit, all that stuff, save. Woohoo!
So there we go. Now it's just red around what we want. But it tells you red, but it doesn't tell you why your thing broke or what's going on. And so what we're going to do is let's first do this. We'll kind of do two steps. So first, let's go back to our RubyMine.
Okay.
And I know and go look under our messages.
Oh,
The views. So views, messages.
Oh, the view. Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's
that? So under app, I go app, then views, and then messages.
Right there.
So if we look at new and we look at edit, I mean, they're the same thing. And that should be first, like copy, paste, oh, code smell, what the hell? You know, why am I copying paste? So what we can do here is use what's known as a partial. So this is going to repeat the same deal. So under messages, we'll create a new file.
Okay.
And we'll do first underscore, and we'll call this form.html.erb. So the underscore is telling it that this is a partial. So then let's go to edit and just copy and paste everything.
Yeah.
And then let's go back to our edit.
Right.
And what we'll do here is get rid of all that. And we'll do the, less than %sign equals. And we're going to say render space. And we'll do the symbol partial. Hash rocket. And then the string form. And close it.
Okay.
So that's going to tell it to, hey, render here the partial called form. And you know where to find a partial form because you know the same folder that edits in.
Right. Right.
So now we should go back and we go to look at our edits or web page. We should, and we go to edit and refresh. We should still get the same form view.
Right. Yep. Great. Okay, so I suppose we would do the same on new?
Correct. So now they're both going to the same place.
Right. Now, okay, how do we cope with, like, for instance, here we have add, but on the form there we had save.
We'll get to that after
Okay.
we do this next step.
All right.
So
Yes. All right.
the first thing is that now we want to display the errors that we have. So let's go back to our form.
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds to look at this. I'll make sure I do it right. All right, so right underneath the form 4 stuff, right before label, we're going to create some code inside there to display, if it has errors, display stuff. So we'll do the less than sign %, and we'll say no equals because we're not going to output anything this time.
All right.
So we're just going to space if not diff, if. So if the message at message dot errors dot any question mark,
Okay.
and then we need to put an end block to close it up.
Right. There we go.
So I'm going to follow kind of the guidelines stuff that I was using. So when Rails 2, you'll see, it had something that's really awesome. When moving from Rails 2 to Rails 3, I kind of was at first going, why'd you get rid of it? Because you used to be able to just say, hey, show me all the errors, and have this default error message thing that would show. But they got rid of it, with the idea being that errors, you should make a more customizable view, or you want to have a little more control. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, I get it. On the other hand, it's kind of annoying because it's a little more, it's a bigger block. But I've had some partials that I create that I use for just the generic. But here we'll create a full error message.
All right.
So here we'll say, let's put in a paragraph tag. Actually, let's put a div. Let's do a div with the ID of error underscore explanation.
All right.
And then we'll do a paragraph tag. And
Inside
we'll
the div, right?
Yeah. And just say, hey, we couldn't save the message because, and then we'll show what we want to do. We don't need parentheses. I'll just confuse it.
So,
Parentheses are quotes. Yeah.
Right. Right.
And then inside the div tag still, but on a different line than the paragraph, we're going to loop through all our error messages. So again, we're going to need another little code block. There we go. And do at message
Right.
dot errors dot full messages. Oh yeah, there's dot full underscore messages.
Messages like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Dot each. Do and a little pipe, and we'll put m space do.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so that's saying, hey, for each one of these, do this block.
Right.
And just show, like, probably just do a paragraph tag. That's pretty easy. Just do a paragraph tag and say % equals m.
Right. Okay.
So we save it, and let's try it out.
Coolio. So we don't have anything. Let's refresh that. Alright, go back in there. Let's edit. Remove that stuff. Save. Whoa, look at that.
See, there you go. Quick and neat.
Very nice. Oh man, this is sweet.
All right, we're going to have to take, I'm going to pause. We're going to need at least a 5-10 minute break. I haven't let my dog out in a long time, and she's
poor
like,
thing.
oh my god, like, let me out now. So, quick break.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll do the same here.
So you've been following along, Mark, with yours, or?
Yeah, I have everything. It's set. I'm not seeing the RSS, the CSS for some reason. When Claudio gets back up, I'll have him look at one. I just want to see his files. I think I'm missing something in one of the files, like a line or something.
Okay. One thing to double check is like when you do the error first, check the HTML. Is the HTML showing the divs and the stuff?
Yeah, but I see here's where I think I got lost was when I do save, like when I'm in that edit screen and you do save, it goes to saving. It doesn't go to what you see on his page where it has like the names above the content and everything. It just goes back to, it says like the awesome message and then the name and then edit. It doesn't.
So it's still passing there's no validation with it. So if you go look at your model, do you have the validates presence of, right?
Let me see. In the message controller?
In your message model. So in your model, you should have validates presence of and content.
Yeah, I have that in message.rv.
Yeah.
Yeah, validates presence of content.
Yeah, we'll just have them show, and we'll go through some of them to double check that your screen looks like that.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Cool. So we can get Mark up the same area we are. We just want to double check each of the files because he's close, but there probably is a missing link somewhere. So if we look at your RubyMine file, let's first show your model. So the message model. Make sure, so that's what you have.
Yep.
And let's look at the messages controller.
Yeah, let me see that. I think that's where I messed up. Messages all. Let's see. That's great. So, message find. If any. Message find. Message find. If message. Yep, I got all that.
Alright. Okay, then what else? We had the views, right?
Yeah.
So that's that partial form view.
Yep, I have all that. Let's see, let's see. Yep, content.
Okay, edit.
Yes, I guess the spaces matter between the hash rocket and the partial.
No. So on your edit, you clear out the content, you hit save, and it goes to, does it go to the show action?
Yeah, let's see, if I click edit, and then I can change, what should I change in the content?
Clear content out, it should be completely empty.
If I save, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I wasn't doing. I'm sorry.
No worries, it's good to go through the double checking, so you know when something doesn't work, these are steps, okay, this is set up right, this is set up right, this is set up right. So part of that, because the next step of debugging is this step. So let's go to this next step. So Bobby, if you open up your console or your command line.
Sure. Flip over there. Here we go.
Now we're going to do Rails space console. Naturally, use Rails space C. Console.
Right. Gotcha.
So what this is going to do is this is going to open up a little interactive console that loads up all your Rails goodness and your models and stuff. So we can say m equals message.new.
Equals message.new.
Yeah, with capital M because it doesn't know what lowercase m is.
Oh.
So lowercase m, capital message.
Right. Dang it. There we go. Okay.
So So there, see, it spits out exactly what we have inside there. Now do m.valid question mark.
Yeah. Hold on. Sorry, man. What was that? M?
Dot valid
Valid?
question mark.
Okay, it says false because we don't have contents. Yeah.
So I do m.errors. So see, you have an order hash that is part of there, and it shows that the content can't be blank.
Right.
So this is the next step I would ask Margie to go through, because then it'd be like, if you do m.valid and it says true, we know, oh, okay, something's whack. Or if it gives you this, then we know something else is okay.
Right.
So let's say we do here, let's say m.content equals to test. Press enter, then do m.save. Now, if we go to our web page and we go look at our messages, see that we have our
There it is. Yeah. So, what if I edit this guy here and say hello, save it. Can I go back here and say M?
If you do m, it won't have that, but do m dot, I think it's refresh with the exclamation mark. Let's try it. Question mark, exclamation mark.
Right.
Or just do refresh without it. Maybe we were having a discussion whether it's that or not. Reload, try reload. I guess we had two different parties and we couldn't remember what it was.
Reload. There you go. Okay, cool.
And so it reloaded that, or you could have just queried to get it again. So if you do, like, I guess, press the up arrow. So you could go back up real fast and run that query again. Or I guess you didn't have a query. So we can do, we'll do some interactive stuff here so you can see this stuff in action. So, yeah, so rel C. So let's open up the console again.
Okay. All right.
All right, so we can do m equals capital M message dot find and pass in 2. Yeah.
Like
so
like that?
It's going to find the message with the ID of 2. So we should get our test and hello stuff. What we can also do, which is really cool, is do let's say m equals to message dot find underscore by underscore name, and put in parentheses hello. There you go. So there it's going to find it. So we can do the same thing. So press the up arrow. So we get the pass thing, but instead of find by name, do find by content, and then type in the test.
Very cool.
So there you go. So that's Rails awesome goodness too. So it knows, oh, you have a name property, you're obviously looking by that. So that's how I can map the two together.
Right. And
so you don't need to create those code.
Right. And if I pass something messed up, it's going to yell at me. Okay, undefined method. Cool. Sweet.
You can also do things like m equals to capital message dot where, and do parentheses, and do symbol name, hash rocket, and do hello.
Yep. And if
there you go, notice it gave you an array with that. So if we just wanted the first one, we need to do dot first.
Right, right. So, and you know it's an array because of the brackets here.
Correct.
Right. Got it. Sweet.
So find, if you see find, you know you're returning a singular. If you're doing where, you're always going to be returning a collection.
Right.
And we can do dot first or whatever. I don't think the find by name and content works with Mongoloid. I think that's why I don't generally use that as much.
Right. Got it. Cool.
Yeah, so that shows some of the basic querying stuff, but you'll find where we do a lot of stuff, which is helpful here because let's say there's something wrong with message 2. I can quickly pull message 2 inside the console and test some things, like I'm debugging the stuff today going, okay, this thing should have done that. What does the data look like? Oh, look at the data. Oh, this, the data's wrong, or what's going on here? Let me try fixing it in the console. Okay, yeah, it works on the app, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Which, you coming from the Fox world, you're probably used to this sort of console interactivity. Me not. This is the first time I'm exposed to it. I go, dude, this is awesome.
Yep. That's definitely something that's in .NET I've always missed from Fox, which is a decent command window where I can just say, give me my object, let me run my queries, let me call some methods here and there, see what the output is. Yep.
All right, so to get out of the console, just type exit and press enter.
All right.
All right, so what we'll do here is, what I want you to do is, you don't have a Heroku account, probably.
I do not.
So why don't you pause, and we'll put you pause, I don't know if we can pause recording or whatever, but create a Heroku account.
Okay. Okay, confirmation email sent, check your inbox. There it is, invitation to Heroku. Follow the link. Okay, here we go. Alright, super powerful password. Come on. Alright. There. User account created. Okay, I'm in there. So let me share this again. Alright,
so you have this stuff created, and we're also going to do is, okay, let's go to your console, or your command line, and what we'll do is, do you have a, type git, and see if git is on your PowerShell right now.
Yep.
Alright, so we want to do git space init.
Alright, do I have to give a name or something?
Nope, just init right there.
Okay.
And then we'll do, I'm going to have to remember because I have all these shortcuts. So git space add space dot. So this is saying, hey, this is add all these files. So
right.
Enter. And then we'll do git space commit dash m. And then put in a string, quote, or whatever your initial commit message. So just say initial commit.
Yeah, it's pretty much like Mercurial.
Yeah, I would say the workflow is so similar that any Git's better than Mercurial, Mercurial's better than Git to me is just such a...
Yeah, that's just crap. They follow the same principles.
Alright, so what we can do now is do git space status. Actually, there we go. Now we know that we're all committed, everything's good.
Right, sweet.
Alright, so we need to set up, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to send you a link and we'll kind of go through these steps, make sure the recording's off, because we're going to be setting up some SSH keys, and we might even pause the screen on certain areas because these are security things. And so downloading some files and stuff, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, right.
Again, this is one of those where it's like, it's getting some of the stuff all set up, it takes a while, but once you get it set up, it doesn't take anything more.
Right. Okay.
And I bet it takes less time than installing the MVC. So. Jesse had to install MVC like 3 or 4 or whatever, and it was taking him forever. And I was like, dude, I already built an app by this time.
Yeah, when I was messing with it last week, I was just using what's the one that comes with PS 2010? I guess it's MVC2. That one was
like 4's around the corner, right?
no, actually 3 is the one that just came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dennis, I guess, is on the MVC list that he's getting talks about MVC4.
Right. Yeah, because 3 just came out like 4 or 5 days ago.